So, this morning we are drawing an angled portrait, and to do that I've got my cartridge paper, I've got my reference material, and I've got two coloured pencils. One I'm going to do my working out, or my sketching, and the other is for my lines over. Okay. The angled portrait is the most common portrait you draw of all the portraits. Rarely will you get anybody who's straight on or side on without having just a slight twist to their profile. So it's a really useful profile to, excuse me, acquaint yourself with. Okay, so I'm going to have to ignore Scouty barking up there. And I've got Tilda Swinton here as my model. Okay, so with all the other portraits, we're going to start with the outer profile angle. Okay, so I'm going from the cheekbone to the chin. Okay, and I'm just going to be doing it very, very roughly, like so. And then I'm going to go from the cheekbone to the brow line. Okay, so this is my kind of like just my starting point. And these are movable. I can move these. These are just to help me start placing the face on the paper. And when I've got the brow line, I'm going to get the angle of the brow line. And I'm looking for the median. I tend to go through the top of the middle of the brow, at the top of the bridge. So I'm just going to go here. So I'm guessing that having travelled up here, I'm just going to go at this space here. Okay, just going to check that I've got that. I might need to be just angled a little bit more. So what this does, this is a great start. It just kind of tells me what direction the face is facing, and also, you know, what the tilt of the face is as well. Okay, so this is kind of like pretty much straight on, just at a 3/4 angle. Okay, so then I'm going to get the bridge of the nose, and I want to kind of like travel in. So I'm looking at this distance of travelling in, because I want to be able to fit all of these features in here. So I need to give them enough space. It might be that I don't need to come so far out, but it's just a starting point. Okay, and I'm getting the bridge of the nose, just getting that angle coming in, and I'm going to travel across. Okay, so this isn't a sort of like a single line, a sharp point. We're looking for the median, because it's sort of like, as we know, if we were to put our fingers over here, it would be arched, okay? So it's not a kind of like a sharp bend, but so this is just a median, and this is just a working line, okay? So we want to get the angle of the nose. So we're going to be working down the central features, okay? So you can, if you're working from a photograph, you can line up. If you're working from a model, you can as well line up. What's really helpful here to see how far you take the nose is to actually look at the shape, what's happening here. Okay, it's really, really useful. And this is probably one of, after we've got the kind of like the brow line that we hang everything off, this is one of the key features that you're looking at that's going to help you place all the features and move on. Okay, so I'm just going to then I'm looking at how far it is from the length and how far it is from the side of the face. Okay, and if I've got my cheekbone there, I'm about here. I'll need to probably come out a little bit more here. This is why I say it's not that fixed. Okay, and then I'm going to get I'm going to come up a little bit more actually. The angle, and I'm going to stop boxing in the nose. So I'm just doing it very angular, and I'm putting lots of lines, and that's okay. I want to box in, as ever, the nostril and the protruding part of the nose. So it's just above this line here. Okay. You can also line up and see where it is in relation to the bridge that you've drawn. So it just comes a little bit proud of there. Let me just double check that. So a little bit over here. Okay, so it's good to just double check Okay. And then in a live portrait, the Veltrum would be a lot more obvious. So it's like lots of photographs, it will actually be blended out. So, but this is ideal because what it will give us from the base of the nose is the width of the top of the lip. And again, if you're in a live situation, that's what you'll probably see. The lighting will be much better. Okay, I want the angle of the lips, so I'm just going to come down from there. And you can use the boxing in of the nose to see how far out you can gauge the distance that your mouth will go, and that will help you just put the angle of the lip. This is very rudimentary at the moment. As always, I'm not going to draw this as solid form. I'm going to circle the lip in. I want it to be nice and soft. And then I'm going to just go, what's the actual depth here under the lip that gives me the top of the chin. Okay, and then I can circle underneath for the chin. I think the bin men might be coming, which is why Scouty's having a bit of a bark upstairs. Okay, so I'm going to go back up now, and I'm just going to do a few more details on my nose, because I want to give myself as much information before going up to the eyes. Okay, so I'm just going to look at all the angles that are going on there, because I can round them off. I'm not worried too much about it looking very square at the moment, or very straight. I'm looking at the distance here, and I can just round this off. And this is a really important feature for helping us get the distance here when we start plotting the eye. Okay. Okay. Right, I'm going to start plotting the eye. I'm going to start with this eye. And I want to just get the brow, so I'm going to just block in the shape of the eyebrow along this line, because I'm going to need that to help me find the shape of the eye within. Okay, and then I might just do the same again. So I'm actually going with this, it's angling up slightly and coming down. Okay. Right, so I'm going to look at this shape here, and I'm looking at it in relation to the bridge of the nose. Where does it sit? I'm just going to circle it in. So I'll start with that first triangle there into the bridge, and then I'm going to do this outer area here. And what I'm looking to get is that upper lid. So I can just start to go, well, what's the shape? What's one shape in relation to the next shape? Okay, so that gives me the upper lid. Have I given it enough space for the scale I'm working at? Maybe I need to come down a little bit more. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm just looking at what's this shape here in relation to the bridge. And also, it's very good to circle in the distance here. You start to see how far out the beginning of the eye is. Okay, so I don't want to guess that. I just want to circle it in relation to what I'm drawing here. And then again, I want to just start to circle what's happening up here. So we very much did this when we're looking at front-facing portraits. And I'm looking at, I can just sort of start to square that up a little bit. I'm looking at, this is the top of the eyelid. So I'm going to use this now to actually get the shape of the eyelid. I should sharpen my pencil a little bit. Oh, but I've mislaid my sharpener. Or have I? Actually, it's in my pencil case. So it's good to keep your pencil sharp. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. And as you can see, I always just sort of like circle it in. I don't just go straight for it. I want to just feel my way. If there were tighter time constraints, I probably would just do a sort of like just go for the line. But I've got time to sort of like to find it. Okay, so that's the above the eye here. Okay, so now I want to find the bottom of the eye, and I want to see where it sits in relation to the nose. I'm going to do this butterfly effect here. So I want to feel the distance. So I'm travelling the distance, I'm feeling it. And I'm going back to this point here. I'm going, well, what's the shape there? Have I got the shape? Is it true? Okay, and then I want to then do the next leap. So it's not such a big distance that you're jumping. You can correct as well. So you're taking it in little steps and not giving yourself such a great distance to travel. Excuse me. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. So I've got a little bit of nostril that I can just see here. I want to just see what this comes in quite close to the actual side of the nose. And it's quite tricky on this photograph because it's sort of quite bleached out. But I'm going to just then travel under the eye. And then my leap isn't so great. Okay. And that's great then, because what I've got now with the eye here, and I'm actually beginning to get a little bit of the socket, the fleshy part, that I can just use this to navigate underneath, is I can see my distance here, and I can just start to work in these distances and use this part of the eye to help me shape what's going on here. And I can then redefine the distances here. Too far out, so I need to come back in. I'm getting a little bit carried away, doing a little bit too much like Pete Postlethwaite and less Tilda Swinton. I want to just check that distance. My angle was probably right to see what is happening here. I've got lovely softness around the lip. I'm just going to see what's the distance here, so I need to come in a little bit more. This is why it's quite good to have one colour. And I want to just scoop up the chin. I've got information here to go up. I'm just going to circle in the forehead and use the brow to find the temple, and the space here to the hairline. I'm going to use a little bit of light shadow and light here. And this is where it's quite good to kind of like start to travel across the face. And you start to feel the distance that you're travelling to encapsulate the jaw. And here, somewhere here, is the angle for our ear. So I'm going to use the distance between the eye and then to the hairline, and then jump across to the ear, and I can line up where it joins, which is about here and about here, and then I can start to get the angle going off. And when it comes to the neck, you can line up, where does it travel through, where does it cut through. But I'm just going to do, actually what I'll do before I do the blue line is just how to place the eye, as we did with the front facing. I want you to focus on the whites of the eye, on that shape. It just really helps, because this is so dominant, the pupil, that we can get a little bit carried away with it, and we can exaggerate it. Whereas if we focus on the whites, then we're just placing it quite well. And what we think, sometimes we think, well, it's just a circle. Well, actually, from different angles, it's not. Okay, I'm just going to go over with my blue line now quickly. And as you can tell, with this angled portrait, it just takes a little bit longer. So this is always my anchor point here. This is the point where I always start. So this is the line that I'm just going to now stroke in the lines that I'm happy with. You know, I can still sort of like change and, you know, alter things at this point. But I want to keep it quite fluid. Okay, and I'm just going to, for the brow, do some mark making, direction of travel. And just get the softness of the nose. It's quite nice if you do stroke it. Little pencil marks. I'm using watercolour pencils just because the pigment is nice and strong. And I'm just making sort of like, I don't always take my pencil marks to the end. It's like a little note taking. So this is all pointing down. And then I can just round off the lip a little bit, soften that. I think this is quite a long video, so I'm not going to do an awful lot of detail. But you could sort of start to, if you wanted to have more time, start to put directional marks for the lip. I'm just going to do under the lip. I've just done a little note there, because this is where there's a little change in tempo in the lip. And then I'm just going to just note where the top of the chin is. Okay. I'm going to go back up and do the brow on this side. And then I'm just going to pick out the line of the lid. Probably a bit strong, that line. My angle's a bit too strong. And that's okay. There's a little bit of fold here of the upper eyelid. And it's quite nice. Again, if you just don't have, you know, if you take your time just to notice when you're doing these little lines, you can pick out these little features. And then I'm just going to slightly put in the eye, sort of squaring off at the top there. Oh, my pencil separated a little bit. I'm going to leave a little gap between the eye and the sort of like the outside of the eye, because we have that little bit of, I guess, I'm not sure what the term is actually, skin just there, so I can just pop that in. Anybody knows what it's called? That's super. You let me know. I'm just going to do on this side. When it comes to eyelashes, I just tend to kind of like, actually I will use that thicker line, I just tend to do it slightly thicker. I don't do individual lashes unless they're really dominant. Most times when you're in a studio live drawing situation, you won't be able to see the eyelashes. You never can pick out every single detail. It's only in photographs that we get to pick out all those details. So it's quite nice not to put them all in, because we can't always get all the information. We can't process all the information in one go. So we're just doing a representation. Okay, I'm just going to do a basic line there and then travel in. And then always quite nice, in real life you will see lots of shadow coming down. And it's always really good to be able to use that for kind of like nice flowing shadows. I'm just going to line up a little bit of hair there. I won't finish the ear now because as I say it's quite a long video, but I'll just do a little bit of hair at the side there. What you can do is actually start to put like contour lines in and just start to stroke in direction of flow, crisscrossing the face. From top, round, under the jaw, back up again. It's really nice just to acquaint yourself with how to travel across the face, especially if you're going to move on to painting. And the way we've drawn this also already starts to kind of like show you where the muscle is as well. Okay, thank you very much.